want to show you an update of the 1 to 10 scale Honda / Acura NSX. And if we play back a bit, this is what I said about a year ago. It would require two new parts from Lego though. First, we would need a wheel hub that accepts the big, stronger CV joint directly. So new wheel hubs, and then a new differential from the Ferrari. And lastly, because the differential from the Ferrari has a higher gearing, it means that in the high gear we need a higher speed. So I would also need a 24-tooth clutch gear here to drive an 8-tooth gear. So a year ago I wished for new, stronger components, and well, we got them this year. And I already put them to good use in this model. Basically, we have the 24-tooth clutch gear. This is now used for the high gear, and they are both driving a 12-tooth straight gear. For the low gear, I'm using 16-tooth clutch gear that is driving the 20 straight gear. And of course the reinforced differentials from Daytona on the front and rear. And for the wheel hubs, I'm using the ones from the Audi, which are much stronger, much more compact. And all this gives this car a performance boost. Basically, it almost reached 22 kilometers an hour, which is around 10% faster than the previous version. Of course, in order to accommodate the different differential and everything, the different setup, I had to increase the size of the rear axle. So the fake engine is now sitting one stud higher than it was before. But other than that, there were no major changes to the basically interior or exterior. The steering motor was slightly moved more forward, and that's about it. But everything else, well, it works as the same as the previous version. We still have the suspension on all wheels. We still have a 2-speed gearbox. We also have the steering wheel connected to the steering motor. So basically this is it. Or is it? Well, since I was already doing the upgrade of this model, I did get an idea that is very popular lately. What if I also somehow make an off-road version of this model? How would that work? And well, let's just start with the suspension first. If I remove the wheels, you will notice something here. See this axle here and the way the suspension is attached here? This allows me to basically adjust the suspension height. And by adjusting the suspension height, of course, we get more ground clearance. And let's do the same on the other side. So we're gonna remove the original wheels, increase the suspension height in the rear, and in the front. Now, these wheels are good and everything for on-road, but what if we use something more off-road-ish? So I decided to use these wheels. They are almost same size, 68.7 by 34R. I wish I could use bigger ones, but then I have problems with actual wheels touching the arches, so I'm using these wheels. So it already looks a bit more off-roadish, huh? And it has much more suspension shower. But that's not all. Let's make it a bit more aggressive. So let's add a LED bar. Then how about we change the rear bumper, huh? Let's make it a bit more off-road-ish. So the rear bumper is designed, the car was redesigned so you can easily take out the rear bumper. Let's a bit hard to show, but we'll manage. And just like that, we pull out the rear bumper. And we're gonna replace it with this version, which has 4 exhausts. So that's the rear bumper. It has much higher approach, or in this case depart angle. And I also want to protect the front. So I have this kind of a pull bar here. It's easily just inserted. And I'm using 2 pneumatic T-pieces to fix it. And voila! We have an off-road version of the Acura NSX. And you know what that means? Time to go out again, and let's record it. Well, I'm back from the video shoot of the off-road version. I managed to lose a few parts here, and I managed to also damage the bumper, and the whole car is very dirty. There is stuff still falling out, but given its limitations, I think it performed well, very good. I managed to drive it over rocks, grass, mud, sand, up 30 degrees uphill, no problems. But of course it will never perform as well as a dedicated off-roader, because it has a very limited suspension travel, limited ground clearance, open differentials and things like that. So given that this is an on-road car that was modified for off-road, I think it performed, like I said, really great. Having said that, there are some drawbacks that I will probably fix in the future version. One of the drawbacks is the way the rear hubs are attached. These axle pins can fall out and then it collapses the whole hub. Of course, the big drawback here is also the open gearbox. The gear ratios are really good, but the problem is that the gears are all exposed, so all kinds of stuff can get in there, and of course that's not good for performance. Another thing that I will probably improve in the future version is the way that the suspension is made. I think having motorized suspension is a good way, so you don't have to manually set the suspension, the shock absorbers. And of course I could probably integrate a differential lock. Now that we have the short transmission ring, it is possible to integrate the differential lock in the same axle width. So that's the idea for the future version, which will probably be based on a different car. It's probably going to be a different chassis because I don't think I can squeeze any more out of this chassis. It's kind of small, so the future car is probably going to be based on a bigger car, which will give me more space to give it more functionality. Regarding this car, I think I will rebuild it back to the road version. I prefer the road version, it's a bit smoother and slicker, and I think that this was a really good experiment nonetheless, and the modifications really paid out, both on-road and off-road. The car is faster, it has more torque, and it's also more reliable. There is no old differentials to break the gears, there is no CV joints, hubs to fall apart. Everything is very reliable, except for the, of course, this weakness here that I already mentioned. But like I said, I am really happy, I learned a lot, and if you also like it, then please, as usual, subscribe and like, and of course I would like to wish you a nice day. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.